Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. We were supposed to be celebrating 9 years of marriage. Sharon called it a reset, said she found us a quiet place, a boutique resort tucked between cliffs and vineyards. It looked like a postcard. Clean air, ocean breeze, candlelit dinners, everything felt perfect on the outside. But she wasn't really there, not with me. She kept looking at her phone like it was her lifeline. Every buzz pulled her away, mid-sentence, mid-smile. I asked once, "Work stuff?" She nodded, a little too fast. "Just chaos at the office. I'm sorry, I'm here. I promise." The first night, she said she was tired. The second night, she had a migraine. Third night, she said she was going to the spa, a deep tissue massage. "You should nap or read," she told me. "I'll be back in 2 hours." Fine. I poured myself a drink, kicked my feet up, and scrolled through nothing. Her tablet was still on the coffee table, open. I didn't mean to snoop, not at first, but the screen lit up with a message preview. "Miss you already? Same place tonight?" Curiosity pulled me in. One swipe opened the floodgates. There was a message thread labeled Leo. Dozens of texts, photos, times, voice notes. She told him, "Andrew's clueless. He thinks we're reconnecting." Another one. "God, I can't wait to see you again. Last night was perfect." Location pins matched places just a few blocks from the resort. One was a nearby wine bar, another a local Airbnb. She wasn't stressed from work. She wasn't healing our marriage. She was using this trip as her cover. I stared at the messages for a long time. Didn't feel anger. Not yet, just clarity. A quiet snap. This wasn't a marriage anymore. It was a performance. But now I had the script. Sharon walked back in an hour later, glowing. "Spa was amazing," she said, dropping her robe on the chair. "You should go tomorrow." I smiled. "Maybe I will." She leaned in and kissed my cheek. "Thanks for bringing us here." I kissed her back. And right then, I started writing her ending. The next morning, I brought her coffee in bed. She stretched, smiled, and kissed my hand. "You're being sweet," she said. "Trying to make the most of this weekend," I replied. She had no idea. I already had her messages backed up to my cloud, her tablet synced to my laptop. Photos, times, GPS pins, all stored, all time-stamped. Sharon spent the day acting like the wife I remembered, touching my arm when she laughed, sipping wine too slowly, brushing my cheek for no reason. I played along, because when someone's pretending, it's easy to pretend right back. That afternoon, she told me she was going shopping alone. "Just want to clear my head," she said. "Of course," I told her. "Take your time." The moment she left, I opened my laptop. A fresh message from Leo. "Still good for 5 p.m.? Sharon replied, "Absolutely. He's napping." She was meeting him again, probably at that same Airbnb near the marina. I called my sister Tessa. "I need a favor," I said. She knew my tone. "What happened?" "Sharon's cheating. I've got proof. I'll send you everything." I didn't hear pity in her voice, only purpose. "Send it. I'll loop in Jason." Quietly. Jason, our old family lawyer. Trusted. Discreet. By 6 p.m., I had a secure folder set up. Document uploading. I requested account statements from our banks, forwarded passwords, secured backups. She thought she was having the time of her life. I was building the exit ramp. That evening, Sharon returned with 2 shopping bags and wet hair. "I found the cutest little candle shop," she said. I took a photo of her right then, holding out a lavender candle, smiling like nothing was wrong. I'd need it later. At dinner, she clinked glasses with me and said, "I really think we're getting back on track." I looked her straight in the eyes. "Yeah, it feels like things are lining up." She nodded, satisfied, sipped her wine. She thought she was still in control, still fooling me. She didn't know the storm had already started. By the time we drove back, I'd already made most of my moves. The drive was quiet, peaceful even. Sharon sang along to the radio like everything was fine, like she wasn't cheating, like I hadn't seen the texts. I kept my hands steady on the wheel. She reached over, resting her fingers on mine. "Thanks for that weekend. I think we needed it." I nodded. It gave me clarity. She smiled. Me too. Back at home, I unpacked fast. Sharon took her time, humming as she folded clothes, then went to water her plants. I stayed in the bedroom, transferring the last of our shared savings into a private account. I'd already frozen the equity line and rerouted all electronic statements to a new email. Later that night, she slid into bed beside me, warm, soft, like the woman I once thought I'd grow old with. The next day, I made an appointment at a co-working office downtown, not because I needed space, but because I'd signed a lease across town under a holding company. I didn't want her to know where I was going once I left. Tessa helped fast-track the paperwork. Jason drew up the initial divorce draft. Everything we needed we were stacking, clean, legal, bulletproof. Back at home, Sharon started making plans. Maybe we should go to Tahoe next month. Just us. I nodded. Could be nice. Every word she spoke now, every plan she made, it was fiction. A ghost story with no future. She didn't notice when I removed her as a joint owner on our brokerage account. Didn't notice the second credit card stopped working. And still, she smiled, kissed me, sent flirty texts from the living room, because she thought she'd won. But I was already gone. She just hadn't realized it yet. It happened on a Thursday. Sharon left early for what she called a client dinner. She wore a red blazer I'd bought her 3 birthdays ago, said she'd be back late. The moment the door clicked shut, I opened the laptop. In one browser, I logged into our financial accounts. In another, I pulled up the message archive between her and Leo. Their thread was still active. Same suite? Can't wait, she replied. While she was sipping wine across town, I pulled the final levers. I disabled her email access to anything tied to our mortgage, insurance, and taxes. She'd wake up the next morning unable to buy a coffee. Then came Leo's wife. Sharon once told me she and Leo were just co-workers and that Leo was going through a divorce. Turns out, that was only half true. He was married. I drafted an anonymous email, attached screenshots, location data, subject line, "You deserve the truth." I hit send. Then I left. The car was packed, lease signed, keys in my pocket. I didn't even take everything, just what mattered. A suitcase, a folder of evidence, and silence. Sharon started calling around 11 p.m., first casually, then frantically. "Hey, where are you? The card got declined. Can you check?" I waited. Let it build. At midnight, I picked up. "Andrew," she said, out of breath. "What's going on?" I kept my voice even. "I know, Sharon. About Leo. About the trip. About everything." Silence. Then, "Wait. No, Andrew, it's not what you think." "It's exactly what I think," I said. "And you're not going to talk your way out of this one." She tried again. "Can we please talk?" "We will," I said. "In court." The morning after, my phone stayed silent. No calls, no messages, just stillness. By noon, Sharon started flooding my inbox. Missed calls, voice memos, long, panicked texts. All of them were some version of the same thing. "Please. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Can we just talk?" I didn't respond. Instead, I sent a package to her HR department. Inside, a printed copy of her messages with Leo, the Airbnb receipts, GPS records from company-sponsored travel that matched her meetups with him. I didn't sign it. I didn't have to. Sharon had used 2 of her quarterly business trips to sleep with Leo, on company time, under the company dime. One in Portland, one in Phoenix. I double-checked everything before I hit send. The next day, I visited Sharon's parents, alone. I owed them that much. Her dad opened the door and looked surprised to see me solo. "Where's Sharon?" he asked. "She'll fill you in. But I wanted you both to understand why I'm stepping away from the family." We sat in their living room. I handed them a sealed envelope. Inside were printed screenshots, copies of receipts, and a brief typed letter explaining the affair. Her mom covered her mouth. Her dad said nothing for almost 5 minutes. "She always talked about how solid you were," he said finally. "Said she never had to worry with you." "I thought the same," I said. When I got home, I posted one message to social media. No tags, no names, just this: 9 years, 1 affair, 0 second chances, rebuilding now, stronger than I was before. By nightfall, mutual friends began to unfollow her. People talked. Even Leo stopped replying. After his wife got the screenshots, he went into lockdown mode. No calls, no messages, nothing. By the end of the week, she was unemployed, isolated, and finally, completely out of control. And I hadn't raised my voice once. By the time Sharon figured out where I was living, the paperwork was already filed. A mutual friend must have slipped, someone who didn't realize she was fishing for information. I got a knock on the door one afternoon. I looked through the peephole. Her. She looked nothing like the woman I knew. No makeup, eyes swollen, wrinkled sweater. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. "Andrew," she said, "please, I know I messed up." I said nothing. "I lost my job," she went on. "Leo won't even talk to me. My parents, they won't pick up. I don't know where else to go." "You had somewhere to go," I said calmly. "You just didn't want to stay there." She handed me the folder. Inside was a letter, apologetic, rambling, full of excuses, and then a line I didn't expect. "I found out a week ago. I was pregnant. It was yours." I looked at her. She continued. "A few days later, I started bleeding. I went to urgent care. They said it was a miscarriage. Stress, maybe? I don't know. But I needed you to know it wasn't Leo's." I folded the letter and handed it back. "You think that changes what you did?" "No," she whispered. "But maybe it changes how you remember me." I shook my head. "You lied. You cheated. You used our marriage like a shield. You didn't just break a promise, Sharon. You destroyed the ground it stood on." She broke down right there on the floor. I didn't touch her. I didn't speak. Just watched the consequences unfold. That weekend, my lawyer, Jason, filed the final documents. We had a prenup, one she once joked about when we signed it. Paranoid much? Now that paranoia was my shield. Infidelity voided any alimony. I kept the house, the accounts, the car. She walked away with a few boxes. I never asked what happened to Leo. Tessa told me he got transferred quietly to another branch. Sharon tried texting a few more times. I never replied, not out of hate, but because there was simply nothing left to say. 2 years passed without a single word between us. I kept my head down. Early mornings at the gym, long runs that ended at the same coffee shop. I rebuilt a life with clean lines and no secrets. People drifted in and out. A few stayed. Peace felt like a room with the door locked from the inside. One Saturday, I cut through a downtown arts fair. A pop-up real estate booth sat on the corner. A woman in a navy blazer looked up. Sharon. Her hair was shorter. Name tag crooked. Sharon Miller. Client intake. She blinked once, then again, like she wasn't sure it was me. "Andrew," she said. Quiet. Not surprised. Just tired. I looked at the brochures. Staged smiles. "How's business?" I asked. She swallowed. "Steady." A coworker waved her over. Sharon pretended not to see. I wanted to say, "You were right," she said. "About everything." "Truth doesn't need me to defend it," I said. She nodded. "I got a small apartment near my parents. I work here now. I'm clean. No more lies. Just work." "Good," I said. She searched my face for something. Anger, forgiveness, anything she could use. I kept it simple. "Take care of yourself." "I am," she said. "I wish I had done it sooner." I walked away. That night, an envelope came. No return address. Inside, one page was written in the same precise handwriting she used to label kitchen jars. "Andrew, I saw you today. You looked calm. I have not felt calm for a long time." I replay that trip in my head. The robe on the chair, the tablet on the table. The way you looked at me and said, "Maybe I will." I thought I was untouchable. I thought you would never know. You didn't scream. You didn't beg. You just ended it. I have grown softer because of that. Smaller, maybe. I have a job. I pay my bills. I do not drink. I do not lie. It is not penance. It is survival. I won't ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve the version of you that thought I was good. But I hope you are okay. Sharon. I folded the letter and put it back in the envelope. No speech, no ceremony, just a quiet acknowledgement that the past was still alive for someone else. It wasn't alive for me. The last time I thought about Sharon was 6 months after that letter. I had just moved into a new place. Nothing huge. A backyard, clean kitchen tiles. On a quiet Sunday, I opened an old storage bin, half forgotten in the back of the closet. At the bottom was a photo album from my previous life. Honeymoon shots, birthdays, a picture of Sharon laughing in a rainstorm. I closed it without a second glance and dropped the whole album in the trash. That was the day I knew I was free. Not angry, not bitter, just free. People assume closure is some emotional confrontation, a dramatic breakdown, a tearful apology. It's not. Closure is driving past a street you once lived on and not turning your head. Closure is deleting a number without thinking. It's hearing their name in conversation and not feeling anything at all. Sharon still lived in the wreckage she built. She never left the vacation. That illusion, the safety of lies, the thrill of getting away with something, she stayed there. I walked out, quietly, completely. I didn't win because I destroyed her. I won because I never let her destroy me. Some betrayals don't need a scream. They need a signature, a locked door, a blank expression when the lies stop working. When I look at my life now, I realize something. I don't miss who Sharon was. I miss who I thought she was. And I'm finally okay with that. And Sharon? She thought I'd never find out. But when she did, it was already too late. Thank you for watching.